Hello, creatives. How are you doing today? I really hope you had a great day today. You really hit your goals. You ate some good food, healthy food at that clock it. I just hope today was just a great day for you. And thank you for tuning into another video that if you click the link, you see the title of this video. And why creatives can't afford to work with just anyone. Why creatives can't afford to work with just anyone. And when I say can't afford, I'm not necessarily I'm not talking about price wise, like why you can't afford to pay or, you don't have the money. That's not what I'm talking about. Um, I'm talking about as creatives, we have a lot of projects that we have going that it requires us to outsource some of the labor because there's only so much we can do, right? It's just you can't do it all, and at some point you realize you can't do it all, and you have to offload some of the work in order to get projects done faster or more efficiently, or you just may not have a certain expertise in like a certain area of the services you provide or the gifts that you use or the talents that you use or the projects that you're trying to get out. So typically as creatives, we do a lot of outsourcing, right? If I do music, so I outsource to engineers. I outsource if I decide now that we have, chat GPT and a lot more resources, we are, kind of taking our power back. But at the same time, there are some services you need to outsource. So you may need to outsource a photographer. You may need to outsource someone to cut your grass. It could be anything really, that saves your time. Outsourcing saves time. It might not be for a creative project. You might just outsource some of your responsibilities so that you'll have more time to focus on your bigger projects, right? So this is very big in the creative world. And it's not because you're lazy or anything like that. It's because you're smart and you're building something. So you're only one person and you can only do so much. And your knowledge, you only know so much, right? You're not an expert in every area of your creative pursuit, your projects or whatever it is that you're doing. And I really wanted to bring this up because this is something, for one, that I've gone through a lot and I've learned a lot of lessons in this area. And it's really about trusting the wrong people can set you back months or even years. And this is why you have to have a strategy on knowing who to work with, the signs to see that you need to stop working with this person, and how to move in this creative exchange. Because one bad business decision can cost more than 10 good ones can fix. And before we even get further, I want you to see yourself as important. Let me say that again. I want you to see yourself, first of all, as important. You deserve respect. You deserve clear communication. You deserve fair pricing. You deserve top quality work, no matter what price you pay. Even though the price may be cheap, you're still paying for a service. And we'll get more into that. But you have to see yourself as, and this is not in an arrogant way or like, oh, I think I'm better than anybody. And this is not to say you talk to or treat people any kind of way. I'm not saying that. But you have to see that the work that you're outsourcing, the work that you do, the work that you're trying to accomplish, the part that the outsourcing plays in your bigger picture, you have to see that work as important. You have to think of yourself as the president of the United States. You have to look at yourself like that. You have to look at, and I'm just talking about in general, that office, right? Because if the president comes, is planning to visit somewhere, they're going to clean that place up. They're going to have roses and flowers everywhere. They're going to make a big deal because they respect that position as the president. And I want you to know that what you carry and your gifts and your talents are just as big as that. I know you may be thinking that doesn't, what do you mean I'm not the president? I know, but you have to think of yourself in high regard, because a lot of times as creatives, we downplay ourselves. We're so soft spoken at times. We don't want to cause any trouble. We don't speak up when we should speak up when something's not right, because we just, we want to avoid conflict. We don't want to seem like we're a burden. Maybe how we grew up, our parents told us we were burdens and we felt like burdens. So, um, you know, that type of environment, you tend to shrink and not speak up when needed, and not withdrawing with needed when needed, not knowing when to walk away when needed because of those issues. But I want you to think of yourself as a CEO. I want you to think of yourself as a CEO. You have money, you have power, you have influence, and you know the work that you do is good work, right? So as we go through this video, I want you to keep that in mind, because first of all, I want to show and tell you why creatives are especially the most vulnerable. Because creatives, we lead with vision and optimism. Like, we're very excited about our art, our work, what we're bringing into the world. And sometimes we can assume, it's just our loving hearts, we can assume that everyone has good intent, right? And then because we assume everyone has good intent, we tend to accept anything, just anything that's given. We tend to accept anything that's given because, for one, we want to support other creatives. Typically, you're probably working with another creative, right? And we want to support that community and show up in that community. And we're often working without formal business training. A lot of us are doing this and we haven't been trained in business. Some of us are new to business. Some of us are, we're online on social media. So a lot of people are advertising their businesses on social media. So you may try to link with someone on social media to get some work done. And, that's honest and compassionate. But what tends to happen is, I notice a lot of creatives, they accept anything when it comes to the people that they're working with. And I've done this. So it's no judgment, but I've done this before, where I let things go on longer than they should. I didn't vet properly. I saw the red flags, but I wasn't sure what to do because my money was already vested. So it was like the risk was already there. So trying to get the money back was going to be a big deal, because of the channel I went through. And I want to talk about why you really cannot accept the bare minimum anymore with who you work with. And what do I mean by bare minimum? What do I So bare minimum, the first thing is how they communicate with you. Do they treat you like you're bothering them, like they're so busy that they can't respond to your message? Do you pick up on that, like even before money is exchanged? Like, if you reach out to them, does it take them 3 days to get back to you? Especially if they have a business and they're promoting their business on social media, but it takes them 3 days to get back to you, three days to answer your email. That is bare minimum. And that's the thing. Don't make excuses. Do not make excuses. That's what we tend to do. Oh, maybe they're busy. Well, yeah, if they're busy, that's not who you want to work with. You want to work with people who are attentive. Because let me tell you, how they do one thing is typically how they do everything. If they're not attentive to their business and the communication coming into their business, what is going to be the outcome of the project that they're working on for you, right? Because ooh, it's coming in hot. It's coming in hot. Because if they're giving you the bare minimum up front and then you exchange money, imagine the work that you get back. It may be good, but it may actually be the bare minimum for them. So they're going to give you their bare minimum. And because you have no help and you have nothing, it's going to seem like it's good to you, but really they cheated you of a more quality outcome of that project. Do you get what I'm saying? If they give you the bare minimum just in the beginning with communication, it's going to affect your final product. And remember, the work you have is amazing. You want people to handle your work as if it's their own and they cherish it. That's how you want people to approach your work. And I know it can be a little cringy because a lot of us have low self-esteem. Come on, I'm going to be honest. We're going to be honest. A lot of us have low self-esteem. We really don't think much of ourselves. And some of us don't think that way. But I notice, a lot of us creatives, we have to work on our confidence. But think about that. If their communication sucks, they can't even respond promptly to an email, and they have a whole system set up to make money, to get clients, to get leads. Mind you, we are on our phones every day. So if you hit them up on social media, they get a notification. Even if they don't open the app, they get a notification on their phone saying they got a message. So there's a lot of alarms that lets them know that communication came through, but they can't respond to you properly. That's bare minimum. And you should value your work enough to not put your work in someone's hands like that. You should value your work and what you do and what you're trying to bring to that project enough to not want to work with someone like that. And you may think like, well, that's just small. No, it's not. You have to look at the small things because they point to bigger issues. And then what's going to happen is you're going to exchange money. You're going to get the project back. And then in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, man, I saw the signs earlier. I should have cut this off. Right. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's like, man, but their prices are low. Right. And I'm not saying that just because their price is low that the quality is going to be bad. That's not necessarily the case. But a lot of times we're like, well, I can't really afford, a more professional person. So because they give me a low price, I have to deal with what they give me. No, you don't. No, you don't. You have to, what you have to do? Either find someone else or save your money to get someone with a proven track record and you read reviews or whatever to get the job done. And I know because we want to rush and get stuff out, but you have to trust yourself and trust the process enough that you're going to find someone who will value your product because it really makes a difference in the outcome, right? And then when you're stressed, it drains your creativity faster than money. If you're dealing with someone and your nervous system is hijacked, you're not knowing what's going on. You send them something and then they don't follow up with you on the progress of the project. A week's passed and there's no communication. That's not what you need. We have enough issues in the world. And you don't want to add more issues on your plate, right? So you want to see these things in the beginning. Another example. So I was shooting a music video. So the music video had a skit in it. So I had the actors come together. We met at my apartment and I wanted to have a videographer record the whole process. So I met this videographer at Grammy Week at an event, right? And he was like, yeah, I do photos and I do videos. And with me, I try to put people on. That I need to kind of work on that and work on my discernment with that. But I try to put people on, like Issa Rae was saying, you want to work across instead of trying to go for the top, like work across and build. And that's what I was trying to do. And I was like, you know what, let me hire him. And we negotiated the pay. And I was like, okay, cool. So I told him the time to get there. I told him, I gave him the address. Everyone, I had a big crew there. I had my director there. I had the actors there, and I had food. I took care of my people. I made sure people ate. I had everything. And 7:00 came, and he was nowhere to be found. 7:05 came. He was nowhere to be found. And we wanted to start on time because one of the actors was a young girl, so we didn't want her up late. She had to go to bed. And then it came around 7:15. I believe I actually called him to see where he was at. And he was like, he was finding parking. And then there was no, maybe he was driving so he couldn't text and drive or whatever, because I believe he had a motorcycle. But there was no, when he walked up late, there was no apology, there was no like, I'm sorry I'm late, nothing. There wasn't no urgency to come in and just start recording, because he was missing a lot of good footage in the beginning, because we opened up, we talked, right? We were getting, the director was going hard, and there was a lot of footage missed, and then he comes in late. And I already knew after that, after I got the footage from him from that night, that I was going to drop him, because ain't no way. That is not the energy that I want around me. You come in late, and then the quality of the recording sucked as well. I'm telling you, it all made sense. And that was a big lesson to me, and it pissed me off. I'm just going to be real. I was really pissed off, because for one, I was paying him very well. Like, and that's the thing too. I don't take advantage of people. I pay people. And for you to just come up in there all nonchalant, what, and then if I accept that, what message does that send to my team? Right? Then if they slack, and I try to address them, they're going to be like, well, you didn't address old boy when he was late. You know what I'm saying? So I just send him a text and let him know, hey, thank you, but we're done. And you have to have that standard. I know don't think of it as being mean. Business is business, because think about it. These jobs, they're quick to cut you off and not think about it. Right. And you have to have that same mentality, especially when it comes to your work. That's how much you have to value your work. Let me tell you, if I were Beyonce, do you think he would have been late? Think about it. If I were Beyonce, do you think he would have been late? And if he was late, he would have came in with all apologies. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it just shows that you don't respect me. That was just a big sign of disrespect. And you have to see disrespect early, because people will play you and play in your face. Because you not showing up on time lets me know you don't think what I'm doing is important. And you're just here for a check and free food. So you have to have, that's just one example. And I have so many examples, baby. I have so many examples. I've lost so much money, but I can't really say I lost money, because I gained a lot of lessons. So I guess it was kind of, I paid tuition for my lessons. But here's what you do. And this is how you can eliminate a lot of this, is that you have to test people before you trust them. You have to really test people before you trust them. Never give someone your most important project, right? Give them a small task first, and just kind of see how they respond, right? How they handle just a small thing. See how they follow instructions, see how they handle feedback, whether they meet the deadline, how do they solve problems, right? How are they communicating with you? First of all, how does your nervous system feel? Do you feel some kind of weird energy? If you feel weird energy with this person, trust it and move on. I know, do not wait around to see if you're right. You're going to be right. Trust yourself in the beginning. If the energy is weird and you're not really sure, you're not really confident if you should continue with this person, cut them off, cut your losses, move to someone else. Cut your losses, move to someone else, save your time and your money, but never give them your most important project if they haven't been proven and tested and tried. And then another thing too is, if you're exchanging money, try to exchange it through like some kind of system, right? Some kind of platform where if you need to dispute the money, or you have some kind of you have an intermediary that if something goes wrong, at least you can get your money back, right? Because if you Cash App, I think you can, I don't know what you have to go through to get money back on Cash App, but like PayPal, you can protect yourself through services like PayPal. I'm sure there are other, like Klarna, like other platforms like that. So at least if it seemed like it was going good and something comes up, at least you can, try to get your money back. Right. And just a quick example, I tested an engineer, and he didn't even know I was testing him. I gave him a song that it wasn't really like a big song. It was like an easy song to mix. And something told me in the beginning that something was off, but I couldn't really put my finger on it because the way we communicated, it was like I bought the service on his website. And then he messaged me. He was like, "Oh yeah, just let me know when you're ready to start." And I'm like, "I just bought the service on your website. Like you should have something that alerted you that you just made it money. You just made money, and you're talking about let me know when you're ready." So that was off. I was like, maybe he's not. I don't know. I kind of made an excuse, like, okay, well, I just kind of laughed it off. I was like, "Oh, I already sent you the money, and I sent you the files." And then he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll check." And then he messaged me like 2 days later, no, like 3 days later, like, "Oh, I got the files. Everything looks good." Then it was like 10 days went by, no communication, no follow up. I had to message him to see what was going on. And then his response was, "Oh, I didn't forget about you." Who says that? Like, it was just, I should have trusted myself from the beginning. The final product was good, but how my nervous system was that whole time, and it's not me being OCD, it really isn't, because I told him in the beginning, I was like, there's no rush on the project. I told him my expectations up front. I was like, there's no rush on this. I was like, just please communicate with me along the way. I just appreciate communication. So I told him up front just to communicate, and he let like 10 days go by with no communication. Mind you, this is the first time he's worked with me, so I would think that he would want to make a good impression. But the communication that I got from him, it was like this nonchalant, like, let me just say anything to shut her up, and I'll finish this when I want to finish it type vibe. It wasn't like I was a priority. That's how I felt. Versus, man, I work with this other engineer. When I tell you, I messaged him, literally within 30 minutes, I got a response back. And this engineer is in a whole nother country. And how attentive this engineer was to me. And I worked with him before, but he was so attentive to me and gave me feedback, gave me expectations. I gave him the songs. He responded back. And it just goes to show, once you experience good customer service from somebody, that should be your benchmark. Once you really have a good experience with someone, that should be your benchmark. And if no one is hitting that, you just don't need to work with them. You really don't need to work with them. Right? Because why would you scale down? It's like once you expand, it's hard to go back. Like once you've experienced something good, why would you go back to not so good? And then also you want to, then there's another level, because I worked with people who I thought were good. And then I found someone else who was good. So you just kind of build on that standard, and the work just gets better and better. But you have to see yourself as important. You have to see your work as important. And this video is running a little long, but I just want to say, trust what feels, you know what? Who cares if the video is long? Who cares? If you're still listening, that means you care. But trust what feels off. If I can give anything and leave you with anything, is to trust what feels off. If the interaction feels off, trust it and just be like, "Oh, thank you. I decided to go another direction." Don't wait around to see if you're right. Also, if you're going to work with someone, make sure you document everything. You have written agreements. You have stuff in text messages. You have documentation, because if a dispute comes up, you have documentation, and it keeps emotions out of the dispute. And be very careful as well what you write down, because what you write down could be used in a court of law. So be very careful with the language that you use, what you say, and have clear expectations, because clear expectations are a form of respect. That's respect. So have high standards. Have high standards and protect your creativity. Right? Creativity is a work. Our creative work is very personal. And when you outsource it poorly, it really drains your confidence in the project. And the project doesn't reach the full potential that it could use. Am I talking to somebody? Drop something in the comments if you're getting what I'm saying. Right? You want to protect your work because it protects your future self. And you don't owe access to your work. You earn the right to trust. And that's very powerful. So let me just say this. Let me just say this. It's okay to wait. It's okay to say no. It's okay to choose quality over speed. Let me say that again. It's okay to wait. It's okay to say no. It's okay to choose quality over speed. And the right people make your work lighter, not harder. The right people make your work lighter, not harder. All right. Y'all have a good day.